Hello and welcome to RotD Review of the Day. And today I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different. This isn't a review of a movie. I've actually have a couple of movies that I've seen, written notes on, and even recorded my review on. I just need to sit down and edit them. And that's what I was sitting down to do here this morning when there's been something on my mind and I kind of wanted to possibly open up the door to have different types of videos here. I mean, I've had some announcements about my personal life and so on, but I kind of want to do something a little bit different and still have content for the channel. Primarily keep it reviews, but I don't know. I've kicked around the idea of like maybe a Let's Play or something like that. I don't know. I'm still kicking around ideas, but in this particular case, I wanted to have a discussion. And I wanted to see if I could engage people in the comments to have some back and forth here. And something that's been on my mind has been the TV show The Terror. I watched the first episode when it first came out of season 1. And I don't know, something about it. It was a little dry, and I didn't dislike it. It just didn't capture me. And now that season 2 is being released, I decided to go ahead and pick it back up and get caught up on it. And on the second viewing, it did capture me. And now I'm up to date. I'm up to episode 4 of season 2 now, and for those of you that haven't seen this show, it's a lot like American Horror Story in that it's a compartmentalized season. So season 1 is its own, start, middle, and end. And season 2 is a different storyline altogether, different characters, but same overall arcing theme. And that theme is to take existing factual historical references and then assign a supernatural context to them, which is essentially what season 1 did. It was based off of a book called The Terror, and it was based on the expedition of the two ships, The Terror and the Erebus, trying to find the Northwest Passage and the tragic voyage that was. And then it put a supernatural element into it, and then it was adapted for a TV show. And then season 2, I don't know if it's based on a book or necessarily, or if they're just kind of keeping in with the theme and rolling in with the new, unique, original storyline. But that's based on the Japanese internment camps in America shortly after the Pearl Harbor attacks. And in keeping with the theme, it also adds a supernatural spin to it there. And the one fact, or well, not fact, but opinion that I couldn't really escape from as I was watching both seasons and enjoying them both on slightly different levels. The, master and commander lover in me, I really actually did get very drawn into season 1. And then I've always been fascinated by America and its history from from World War II on has always really captured my interest. So the one thing that I really couldn't escape from, and I know this is a weird thing to admit as a horror lover and as a reviewer of horror movies in my own channel, is that I wish they didn't have any supernatural horror elements to them whatsoever. As I was watching them, it just kind of occurred to me that I know that the first season was based on a book. And I, from what I understand, the book was well written, and honestly, I thought the show itself was very good. But the inescapable conclusion that I had to kind of come to is the events surrounding the tragic expedition to find the Northwest Passage, as well as the Japanese internment camps, they're horrific enough on their own with just the reality of it. And so little of it actually has to do with the supernatural element to it. It's really just kind of a little bit of the spice in the seasoning. But to me, the dish stands well enough on its own. And the supernatural almost takes a little bit away from the real horror that took place there. I like the idea of taking an existing terrible historical reference and then focusing in on it on a ground level, character level kind of thing, and then I don't know. I think I would have I would get a lot more out of it if it was just as factual as possible while keeping a dramatic fictional family narrative. I mean, obviously the Terror in the Erebus was based on actual factual characters, but they took a lot of creative license in those characters as well as their outcome, without getting into any spoilers whatsoever. And as far as I understand it, in season 2 with the Japanese internment camps, the entire family that the show is based on is entirely fictional. I could be wrong. I haven't done enough research to say one way or the other. I'm just kind of click and record here and shooting from the hip. But I like that idea. I like the idea of taking a family and putting a protagonist there so that we get to view these terrible tragedies of historical significance from a ground level family's point of view. I really like that. And then whenever the supernatural stuff kind of comes up, I can't help but think that anybody that is possibly trying to become better educated on the subject matter, because it's important subject matter. History always, I love it in that it is always a lesson to be learned. And the more we learn about our own history, the more we learn about events of the past and the tragedies and the heroes therein, the more we learn about ourselves and the more lessons we can take moving into the future. And it just seems to me that anybody that's trying to appreciate it on an educational level, even taking slight creative licenses with fictional dramatic characters, still putting them in that position and then watching the factual historical events play out. I like that concept, and I don't really like the slight bit of horror that is neither scary nor really adds much value to the storyline, detracting from that and putting it firmly in the realm of pure fiction. I get what they're trying to go for. I honestly just wish it was a little bit different. I really wish that it didn't have the supernatural monster, terrorizing the crew of the Terror in the Erebus. And I wish that the Japanese internment camps didn't have this spirit following this one character. I really wish it was just showing the sheer terror and horror and tragedy of what humanity is capable of in extreme circumstances, and then reveal the events of history through that. It could still be just as terrifying, still be just as mortifying, and be interesting while also being educational, and at the same time being able to take that and not have to add loads of grains of salt to the story to accept it as this is what actually happened. That's just my feeling on it as I'm watching this. I'm still enjoying the show. I'm going to continue watching it because I'm pretty invested in the storyline at this point. But it was just kind of an inescapable opinion that I really couldn't help feeling. And I don't know. I guess I wanted to start a discussion here. If you've been watching the show, if you feel the same or feel differently, I'd love to get your opinions on it. Mostly I kind of wanted to just test the waters here, see if I could get a discussion going about something that I ordinarily wouldn't be covering in my normal content. I try to keep the content strictly to reviews of horror films or short films. And TV shows really don't enter into that mix. Maybe eventually I'll start doing reviews of them. I mean, I'll listen to you. If you want me to start doing that, I'll do that. I kind of operate on a malleable sense that could be very well guided by my subscribers. So if you have an opinion on that as well, I'd love to hear it. But I guess that's all I really want to say. I want to see if I can get a discussion going, and now I'm going to get back to work with editing my my recorded movie reviews. So thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow.